What advice would I give to a leftist in the first world to organize in their countries? Go to the third world and organize there instead. You're not going to build shit in the first world. People there are too materially invested in maintaining their comparative advantage with the third world. So it's not going to happen. I would hope the last 10 years, especially of American politics and UK politics, etc., would have made that very obvious to anyone. When you come to the third world, you also need to let the people who live there just blatantly exploit you. Like when a taxi driver charges you double, you can't say anything. That's the rule. I mean, you can't build a left in these countries where the very notion of building a left doesn't work, because people who pretend to be leftists tell you that building a left shouldn't happen because there's always this ever-present threat of liberals versus conservatives. So you can never build anything better than the liberals. You have to always vote for the liberals. Building anything aside, building an alternative movement, according to them, is sacrilege. When you live in that environment, where you're not allowed to build anything better, you can't build anything better. You're just one person. How the fuck are you going to shout down a bunch of federal government funded people who try to funnel any radical sentiment into the centrist wing of the Democratic Party? You saw this with the recent election. Everyone saw it. What happened? All these people who said they're just reluctantly voting for Biden, I think it's, you should have voted for Biden, obviously. But it turned out they weren't actually reluctantly voting for him. They were just using that as a rhetorical tool to get others to vote for him. Because once he was in power, now they're ignoring everything that he's doing. Where are the videos from these supposed leftists who were just reluctantly supporting Biden on him busting the rail strike, on the train derailment in East Palestine and his awful response to it, on him bailing out massive banks? Where are they? Not just banks either, insuring deposits above $250,000. People who have deposits above $250,000 are rich as fuck, Where's the videos about that, about how it was bad for him to do that, denouncing him for it? They don't exist. Where's the videos about Biden approving a massive oil drilling project on native land? They don't exist. Now, I haven't made videos on most of these things either, but it's because I'm not American, okay? I don't focus on US domestic politics. Most of these people, half of their content is denouncing US geopolitical enemies. The other half is telling you how the Republicans are bad. There's pretty much never any criticism of Biden. When there is, it's framed as he's on their side. He's just sort of misguided, rather than them actually being opposed to him fundamentally. And it's also very, very infrequent. So just for example, searching for strike on Vosh's channel, we have something about a channel getting striked, something about a general strike in India from years ago.
I'm consuming.
Nothing about the rail strike. We have Dark Brandon makes the trains run on time. That's his video on the rail strike. It's literally fucking hell, go you, Joe Biden. Good job. Look at the framing. Holy shit. Oh my God. It's exactly what I said. This is not someone reluctantly conditionally supporting the Democrats with a reluctant vote while trying to build leftism. This is someone who is a centrist Democrat themselves, trying to justify something that Biden has done. What about the new oil project? This fuck all. Biden said he wouldn't allow new fossil fuel projects, especially big ones like this, and he's doing it. He's still doing it. He's going to do the fucking Obama thing and send in the National Guard and shit to expel land defenders. And we're just talking about domestic politics here too. I haven't even gotten to the imperialism. Because when it comes to imperialism, they are completely in sync. When it comes to imperialism, they don't just ignore what's going on. They outright deep throat and support the awful things that the US government does. So it's even worse on imperialism. So when you live in a country like the US, where your best hope is basically to have some class collaborationist unions who are a bit stronger in order to increase you and a limited stratum of the population's own working conditions, without really being able to do much to actually stop imperialism, to really meaningfully do anything for the rest of the world, because people like that frame themselves as leftists and dominate the discussion of what a leftist in your country is and shout down anyone who dares try and build anything better. How are you supposed to do anything? What can you do? I really don't think there is much. It's been 8 years now? 7 years now since the whole Bernie 2015, 2016 thing. That was a potentially radicalizing moment, and it all was just channeled into supporting the Democratic Party in the end, the centrist Democratic Party in the end. Nothing came of it. It was not used as a learning moment to build an alternative movement that can gradually be built on the state level, on the local level, to eventually become something that could potentially unseat the Democratic Party on a national level, as has been done throughout Latin America and many other countries in the world. It was used to simply channel all of that energy into supporting Joe Biden. And this was very intentional from the people who advocated for that. And as I just went over, you can see precisely how it is intentional. Because they have just looped right around to defending Biden. He's done a lot of terrible shit and they've done nothing to even draw any attention to it. So yeah, that's how it is. And if it's that bad domestically, imagine how much worse they are internationally. They are completely supportive of American imperialism when it comes to the international sphere. Like, what can you do if you're in the first world? I mean, you can try to educate other people in the first world about how that is bad, but how do you compete with this massive, let's be honest, at this point, some of it is probably Fed-funded propaganda apparatus trying to defang radical energy and channel it into supporting centrist Democrats in order to uphold the neoliberal status quo? What can you do about that? They're much stronger than you. They're much better funded than you will ever be. They have institutional support. There's obviously a much bigger audience for it. How do you just compete with that? You can't. So if you want my honest opinion of the best thing for you to do on an individual level, it would probably be to move somewhere where you can fight that more directly, where you can fight imperialism more directly. Because imperialism is not going to be unseated by Americans in the first world who benefit from it. That much is very obvious. And the fact that even talking about that, even pointing that out, is framed by like supposedly left Americans who call themselves to like left and who police anyone further to left them than who advocates for anything more radical as like a heinous, like almost unimaginable wrong to even mention, is demonstrative of all of that. Like, if all that happened of nationwide American BLM protest is vote for Biden, if all of that fizzled out so easily, I don't see how there is going to be a better revolutionary moment than that. None of it came to literally anything at all. It was just easily co-opted by the centrist Democrats.